Hi, everyone. I'm Pastor Misty Howick. I'm an ordained elder in the United Methodist Church, and I get to serve New Song United Methodist Church in Surprise, Arizona. What a wonderful day it is. We're having rain here in the Phoenix Valley, so it's been really cool and really wonderful. We are reading chapter 16 of Proverbs today. Every day we read a new chapter in Proverbs, and we try to answer the question, is there some wisdom in Proverbs that we can still use today? We do that by not only reading it, but also looking at some of the historical context. We've learned a lot about ancient Near East wisdom literature and where it comes from, and we continue to learn about those themes. And then we try to apply it to our life. What is something that still holds true for us today? Last week we had the reminder from the Jewish, let's see if I can find it, the Jewish Study Bible. Here it is again, the Jewish Study Bible, that we should be looking at the book of Proverbs as an anthology. So it's a collection, even though traditionally it was written by King Solomon. Many biblical experts have decided it's very unlikely that any of it really came from Solomon, although I still sometimes comment as if it was being written by Solomon, because sometimes it's fun to think about that. But is in a collection of wise sayings from wise people. In the Jewish Study Bible, it even suggests that it was men and women who contributed to these wise sayings. What we're finding out is also through the ancient Near East wisdom literature that a lot of this wisdom writings have roots in the Egyptian culture, which was Egyptian culture influenced the Middle East. So anyways, very interesting. Let's go ahead and jump into chapter 16. The plans of the mind belong to mortals, but the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. All one's ways may be pure in one's own eyes, but the Lord weighs the spirit. Commit your work to the Lord, and your plans will be established. The Lord has made everything for its purpose, even the wicked for the day of trouble. All those who are arrogant are an abomination to the Lord. Be assured they will not go unpunished. By loyalty and faithfulness, iniquity is atoned for, and by the fear of the Lord one avoids evil. When the ways of people please the Lord, he causes even their enemies to be at peace with them. Better is a little with righteousness than large income with injustice. The human mind plans the way, but the Lord directs the steps. Inspired decisions are on the lips of a king. His mouth does not sin in judgment. Honest balances and scales are the Lord's. All the weights in the bag are his work. It is an abomination to kings to do evil, for the throne is established by righteousness. Righteous lips are the delight of a king, and he loves those who speak what is right. A king's wrath is a messenger of death, and whoever is wise will appease it. In the light of a king's face there is life, and his favor is like the clouds that bring the spring rain. How much better to get wisdom than gold? To get understanding is to be chosen rather than silver. The highway of the upright avoids evil. Those who guard their way preserve their lives. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. It is better to be of a lowly spirit among the poor than to divide the spoil with the proud. Just going to interrupt reading for a second for this verse 18 and verse 19. I feel like verse 18 is one of those that I hear, I hear in movies and things like that, or it's in the back of my mind. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall, kind of teaching us about the harm of pride and making sure that we're humble. Verse 19 reminds me of the Beatitudes from Matthew chapter 5. It is better to be of a lowly spirit among the poor than to divide the spoil with the proud. I almost hear it is blessed to be of a lowly spirit, or it is blessed Like, blessed are the meek, blessed are the low of spirit. So it's interesting, that kind of connection. Also, it just kind of makes sense. It's better to be of a lowly spirit among the poor than to divide the spoil with the proud, because then things might get violent, right? All right, well, let's keep reading. Verse 20. Those who are attentive to a matter will prosper, and happy are those who trust in the Lord. The wise of heart is called perceptive, and pleasant speech increases persuasiveness. Wisdom is a fountain of life to one who has it, but folly is the punishment of fools. The mind of the wise makes their speech judicious and adds persuasiveness to their lips. Pleasant words are like a honeycomb, sweetness to the soul and health to the body. Sometimes there is a way that seems to be right, but in the end it is the way to death. The appetite of workers works for them, their hunger urges them on. Scoundrels concoct evil, and their speech is like a scorching fire. A perverse person spreads strife, and a whisperer separates close friends. The violent entice their neighbors and lead them in a way that is not good. One who winks the eyes plans perverse things. One who compresses the lips brings evil to pass. Gray hair is a crown of glory. It is gained in a righteous life. One who is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and one whose temper is controlled than one who captures a city. The lot is cast into the lap, but the decision is the Lord's alone. Okay, so again, quick little comment, verse 31. Gray hair is a crown of glory. It is gained in a righteous life. I love hearing that. I'm going to be using that from now on. I definitely dye my hair. I got my first gray hair when I was 11 years old. So now I'll just remind myself when I see those grays coming back, it's a crown of glory. It is gained in a righteous life. That is one way that I will use the wisdom of the Proverbs. Just to comment on some general themes. Not sure if you noticed it, but just like the title suggests of our video today, God is in charge in this chapter. So even verse 33, the lot is cast into the lap, but the decision is the Lord's alone. It talks about that God is behind all of the decisions and all the going-ons in the world. The human mind plans the way, but the Lord directs the steps. That's verse 9. When the ways of people please the Lord, he causes even their enemies to be at peace with them. So a lot about God's work in the world. The Lord has made everything for its purpose, even the wicked for the day of trouble. Not only is God in charge of everything, and God does everything and has roots in everything, but God even creates wickedness or people who are wicked. I don't know what you think about that. Let me know. Let me know what you think about that fact that in Proverbs, it says the Lord has made everything for its purpose, even the wicked for the day of trouble. Even as a pastor, I really struggle with passages like this. I struggle with passages like in Exodus, where it says that God hardens the Pharaoh's heart. Why does God put things that are challenging in the world? I like to think that that's just our own interpretation of what goes on, and I believe that God creates good things out of bad things in the world. So when there is violence or when there are challenges, that God can turn those challenges into good. But I have to tell you, I'm not always of the belief that God creates those challenges specifically, like to test us or specifically to put us through pain, especially that. So I think that God can create good out of all things, but I still struggle with whether God is creator of wickedness and evil. All right, so that's one of the major themes, is God is in charge of everything. Another theme is the respect for kings. So this is one of those times that I could understand why people would think Solomon was writing this chapter or this book, because it talks about kings in verses 12 through 15. Specifically, it says, it is an abomination to kings to do evil. So it talks about the quality of kings. They are established by righteousness. They delight. The righteous lips are a delight of the king. It sounds like it's coming from someone in the court's perspective, or like a king's perspective. So that's one thing. What I found was very interesting in the Jewish Study Bible, the concern with royal matters is a very significant theme in some Egyptian wisdom books. So again, we have some Egyptian influence here, and some of that trickles in to our very own Proverbs because of the culture, right? The Egyptian culture had influence in the Middle East and the area where our writers are coming from. All right, and then that's pretty much it. I just noticed some language in 26 through 29, actually through 32, very like anxiety causing language, right? The violent entice their neighbors. There's perversion, there's control, there's temper, there's scorching fire, scoundrels, there's hunger, all of this very strong language for not necessarily evil, but those emotions, scorching fire and hunger. And I think it's interesting that that imagery pops up in those verses. Well, what do you think? What is your favorite passage out of chapter 16? What is something that you are going to remember? Are you memorizing some of these so that you can use them in your daily life? Or are you convicted that this might have been a collection of wise sayings by people, but there's nothing left for us today? So leave me your comments here, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.